All right. How you doing? Come and take a journey with me back in time. It's 1984 and the beautiful Jersey Shore. How you doing? Not that Jersey Shore, but this Jersey Shore. And walking up that path is every 14-year-old boy from 3 states, ready for a day of fun in the sun and the beach, except one 14-year-old boy. He's on that beach, but he's building a hotel, dreaming of a career in the construction industry, and he's inquisitive, he's impatient, he has questions of these stupid paper drawings he has. And if he needs answers to the questions, he needs to put a couple of quarters in his pocket and run. And he's fast, but he's got to run 4 blocks up to a boardwalk in search of a payphone. And if he finds that payphone, he'll dial. That's the rotary dial. But he'll dial and see if he could get anyone on the phone that'll answer the question. And sadly, the answer was always, you wanted to be a plumber, you'll figure it out. You see, back then, as now, no matter how much work was put into those paper drawings, when it got to the field, it was up to the field individual to make it work. Now, when Revizto asked me to come here and deliver this keynote, I was hesitant. Because you see, my style isn't a flashy PowerPoint, ROI statistics and graphs. It's not going to be anything you're going to grab and put in your brochure. It's raw passion for an industry in a drastic need of change. So I want to thank Armand and the rest of the Revizto team for having the courage to put me up here, because they may not know what they brought themselves into. I plan on speaking unapologetically about the truths that nobody wants to hear in this industry. I plan on making comparisons to this industry that are real, but you don't want to see. But know this, I am a New Jersey Italian, and I come with friends. So Bobby Bacala, Vinny the Chin, and Tommy 2 Times are strategically placed in the audience, and they will make you an offer you can't refuse. So our lives have changed dramatically since 1984. In 1984, you would have seen me walking around with one of those bulky boxes strapped to my hip, tethered to some headphones, headbanging to some Iron Maiden tunes. And now, a swift change into Spotify. In 1984, you had VHS tapes. Be kind, rewind. Get in a car and drive to Blockbuster Video, scour the shelves for an hour. You don't find the movie, but you still have to pay a late fee. All of that garbage, and now a seamless transition to Netflix. So why all the easy transition to these tech luxuries, but yet in the construction industry, we just can't seem to get there? Well, I have a straightforward answer. Press a button, music plays. Press a button, movies play. Now, in the construction industry, it's far different. We created tech tools with tech minds and gave it to non-tech minds and forced them to use it. It didn't work. It was unsuccessful. They took their dissatisfaction back to ownership. Ownership listened to that, and it affected all additional technology moving forward. You see, no one wants to spend thousands of dollars on a software that becomes a paperweight. So we gave them the right to say, we've always done it this way. But have we always done it this way? Please take a look at the Manhattan Bank building built in 1957 and the 3,000 individuals that helped construct it. I think you would all agree that our construction industry and our projects look a little bit more like this now. So why? What happened to everybody? What led to the decline? Well, buckle up, strap in, put your thick skin on, because we're going to let you all know what it was, and we're all a part of it. Let's start with our educational system. We pushed the trades out of our school in favor for an emphasis on college education. I personally went to a trade school. Later on, I was able to work for a company that was tasked with demolishing that trade school and replacing it with a technical institute. Talk about the irony. Let's talk about I'm actually on the wrong slide. Okay. Let's talk about my fellow construction techies. We haven't been too inspirational, instructional, or educational to the people in our field. Now, don't lie. you've had someone from the field come up to you and have a question about your highly technical model, and rather than letting them know it may not be that technical, you led them to believe that it was that technical. You destroyed their confidence, you pushed them away from it, and they no longer want to even try and use it. All right, so let's talk about our decision makers. How many are you here? See, that's an ongoing problem. You're at a very informative Revizto conference, but yet everyone here is already informed. Now that works if you take that information and that knowledge back to that principal, and they back you on anything that you want to integrate into the technology. But from experience, what happens is when the rank and file, the uneducated, the uninformed, get a hold of what you want to integrate, and they go back to that principal with their dissatisfaction and tell them it doesn't work, you lose. And that stops any further integration. So we need those principals to either be here and engaged or to listen to the people that they pay to send here. And we're not done with those principles. Let's play a little bit of story time. You're in your office one night, late at night, it's 8 o'clock. You think you're the only one that's burning a candle at both ends, but down the hall you see a light on. There must be another hero. You walk down there and into the hall, and into the office, and you see your senior project manager slaving over a set of design drawings. He's got his highlighter, his scale rule, his graph paper. He's got all of that stuff. I need you to do me a favor. Get in real close, right up close to his ear, and say, "Is everything okay? Is everything all right at home? Problem with the wife and kids? Your car doesn't start. Maybe you have a flat tire." And when he looks at you quizzically as to why you're asking him these silly questions, look him dead in the face and say, "Why else would you be here highlighting a set of design drawings that have absolutely nothing to do with the building that you will be building?" Because when you continue to praise them for inefficient long hours, you will push those that want to be a part of the tech out. Now for those project managers, let's play story time again. It's 1999 when we're in our time machine. That same principal walks into your office in 1999. He has a specific question about the drawings that you're hovering over. He wants to know what the elevation of the soffit in a specific MRI room is. Now, you panic and sheepishly turn to him and say, "I don't really know how to read these drawings." Your principal in 1999 has an answer for you or a name for you, and that's fired. Now, you fast forward to 2024, and 25 years later, the same principal walks into your office, has the same question, but this time, he'd like you to find that answer from the model. You can proudly stand up and say, "I don't know how to use that techie model." And your principal will most likely say, "I'll go ask Sal." So I ask, what is the difference? Why is there any difference? Why in 1999 did a project manager need to completely understand their job within the paper? That was the only thing that was doing it. And now that the model is doing it, they are absolved. They don't have to do it. You know, 4 years ago, for some reasons that I just talked about, I was forced to make a career change, leaving the pipe industry that I had done my entire professional life in, and shifting over to the GC/CM sector. W.M. Blanchard, an organization established before Abraham Lincoln's presidency. There I am, a staunch tech enthusiast, looking to align with a traditional contractor. It didn't actually seem like a match made in heaven. But with forward-thinking leadership, they allowed us to instill effective construction technology throughout our entire industry, leading with Revizto, where in fact, they have gone as far as to entrust me with teaching the entire organization for the last 2 years, Revizto front to back. It is clear that the Blanchards understand the need for collaboration with all of their trade partners. So, now that I'm a GC, I could talk about the GCs. We must stop thinking of the BIM model as anything less than the most powerful tool in construction. We have to stop managing the virtual design process with anyone less skilled than the superintendent that walks the field every day. Let's talk about our BIM implementation plans that we're so proud of, crafted by the finest lawyers. And the greatest BIM minds in the world don't understand what the hell they say. But then the project starts, and where'd the BIM implementation plan go? What happened with that? Chalk lines, tape measures, and plumb bobs. What happened? That's what happened. So now, let's get on to our designers. You have the world of credit to you. You start from nothing. You build a design intent. And we could not do this without your vision. However, there's always a however. It's a two-way street. And trade input into that model is vital to constructability. You need to get that model in our hands. So let's play out a little scenario. You leave here today, you drive down the street, and a police officer follows you. You haven't consumed any alcohol, but he believes you have. So he asks you to take a breathalyzer test. You refuse. Now, when you refuse, you are guilty. Similarly, as a designer, you've produced your 20% drawings and distributed them to all the general contractors or contractors, and they ask you for the associated BIM model. If you refuse, you are guilty. Now, we don't know what you're guilty of. Only you know what you're withholding. But let's get one thing straight. If you believe what you have put out there is what we will be building, you're wrong. It's not happening. We need your model. We need your input. We need you to be a part of the Revizto team and get the hell off the Resisto team. So Bobby Bacala says that we've gone too far. We need to slow it back down. So we'll play a little story time for you. And let's get back in our time machines. And it's 1999 now. And I see my first set of drawings that look different. These aren't single-line drawings anymore. They're two-line drawings. They have some depth to them. They look like they were created from something that was a solid. I have to see what they are, so I go and I find the foreman, because he may know, and I say, "What's with these drawings?"
"Oh, Sally, that's that 3D stuff that they're doing over there in the office over there. They're putting all this stuff in a model. They're putting it together with all the trades and the steel, and they're making sure everything works. It's the BIMs. It's the BIMs, Sally."
Well, here's the problem. I still have issues, and maybe I could figure out what they were.
"Oh, Sally, you're never going to see that model. That model's for the office. It's not for the field. It's for the smart guy. You're not the smart guy. You're never going to see that."
Well, clearly, that was not the answer I was looking for, and it kind of pissed me off. So I had to go find the senior project manager, where I asked him the same question. "Can I see this model?" "What model?" "The model that created these drawings. The foreman said the model created these drawings." "Oh, that must be the BIMs. I don't know anything about the BIMs. I didn't even know we were doing the BIMs." I was amazed. We put all of this time and money into this model, this magical mystery model, and nobody had ever seen it. But I had to see it. Because call me a visionary, but this is 1999, and I'm saying, I haven't even seen this model, but it's got to be the greatest tool that the field has ever seen. So I wasn't done there. I would call the genius designer, and I would ask him, "Can I see the model?" And obviously the answer was no, but he was nice enough to send me a couple of screenshots to the model. And oh my God, when I got those screenshots, the foreman was so right. Clearly, this was done by a rocket scientist, somebody that had worked for NASA, graduated from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, MIT. This couldn't be me. I mean, I have a bachelor's from the University of Hard Knocks and a master's from What's the Matter You? So, I had to know, but I never would. But then, in 2004, this project came around, the largest building in the state of New Jersey, and also the ugliest. and it had to be modeled entirely in 3D. It had to be correct. We didn't have time to take our previously coordinated drawings and take them to the field and re-coordinate them. That never happens. We didn't have time to make that happen. So a decision was made that I would get in my car and drive an hour and a half every day to sit next to this gentleman and maybe, just maybe, make a little bit of difference to his model. Now, I wasn't too confident. It's 2004. I had never opened a computer. I had never sent an email. I had no idea what the Googles were. And Lord knows, I didn't have any of these BIMs. But I drove there, and the first day I was there, I sat next to him, and I was there just 5 minutes, and I look up on the top of his AutoCAD screen, and I see a button that says BOM. Now, to me, with my construction background, BOM means bill of material. That's valuable to me. So I said, press that button. Why? Just press the button. He presses the button, and the command line says, select elements. He looks at me. So I select the elements. He selected elements, and bang! Just like that, a bill of material pops up into an Excel sheet. Well, I thought of going to get Tommy 2 times, but I figured I would handle this one myself. I went right up to him and I said, you mean to tell me that I've been in my trailer in the cold for 3 weeks with a highlighter and a pencil and a scale rule trying to come up with some asinine bill of material, and you could have pressed a button and in 3 seconds given me the exact bill of material? I guess. Well, why haven't you pressed the button? No one ever asked. No one ever asked. If that button up there says do not press, eject, my ass is in the sky. We have to press every single button. So from here on out, let's start pressing buttons. Okay, Sal, but if we do that, it's probably going to take longer. How do you know? We just found the magical button that saved me 3 weeks. Let's keep pressing buttons. So for the next 2 days, we pressed buttons, and with my construction background, I was able to find some buttons that actually were relevant to construction. But on the 3rd day, early in the morning, I would hear, I didn't know what this was. I didn't know what this was. But the gentleman, the genius, jumped up. Fire! I said, where? He said, no, in town. I said, well, what does that have to do with anything? I'm a volunteer firefighter. I said, so what, do we get to listen to it on your little box? No, I got to go fight it. You got to go fight it? Well, what am I going to do while you go fight it? Well, all you know is that paper stuff. So bury your head in there in that paper stuff, and then when I come back, we'll start doing the smart stuff. Oh, okay. He didn't get his keys in the ignition. My ass was in his seat. And I started playing around. And it didn't take me but a few minutes to come up with something amazing. I was the smart one in the room. You see, the critical knowledge to what he was doing was the piping and the mechanical, not the computer. So I realized that for you to teach somebody 20 years of plumbing experience, you need 20 years. But for you to teach somebody how to use the computer, well, that was easy. You see, you press a series of buttons in a certain sequence, and the computer tells it to draw a pipe. So I continued on my way, drawing and detailing pipe, because now I'm a designer. And certain things just started flooding my way. Everything that I considered myself to be a good foreman in the field was right there in front of me. You see, I would go in the field and I would lay out all the pipe on the floor, lay out all the hanger locations, the pipe cut pieces, mark out all the fittings, so that the next day when the journeyman would come there, he would have his bill of material and his layout. But now, I was doing all of that on the computer. So where better for an experienced general foreman than in that seat? So, why hadn't the rest of the industry thought of this genius idea, which is virtual general foreman? Where is the emphasis on getting the person with years, decades of mechanical experience to lay out the work and distribute it to the lesser knowledge or lesser inexperienced people the same way they did when they were in the field. You see, but what we have now and then was inexperienced people giving the work to experienced people and then expecting them to follow it. Now, that is backwards. But if you think that's the most backward thing, strap up. It's going to get better. This is plumbing. Now, I know you're looking at it and you're saying, already I know this guy's crazy. This tops it. That's not plumbing, Sal. Those are accessories. No, you see, it may look like grab bars, toilet paper dispenser, and all of that jazz. However, within the trade lines of plumbing, that is their trade jurisdiction. And if you break a trade line in the state of New Jersey, you will get a visit from Vinny the Chin. And Vinny the Chin, because this is so important, will be as so inclined as to shut down your entire project. Because let's get one thing straight. This is plumbing. This is not. I'll let that one rattle around your head a little bit. Just maybe you could figure this one out, because I'm still having a hard time with it too. This is not plumbing. Anyone from overseas, outside the country, one day out of college, zero piping experience, never installed, never held a hammer, can draw this, lay it out, and distribute it to those experienced plumbers who are adamant about their trade lines. Now, if that one doesn't sink it in, let's dig a little bit further into it. Do you know that to be entrusted with doing a layout as a plumber in the field, you need to go through a 5-year apprenticeship course? That's 5 years of in-school theory and 5 years of hands-on training before you are entrusted with laying out that work. Now, if you want to do this that lays out the same work, well, take a RevUP course, do a couple of days of college. You're good. Does that sound right to anyone? So now, we've picked on everybody. We've gone over all of our issues within the construction trade. There has to be a way to fix them, right? So let's go through some of the ways to fix them. Let's start with Revizto. You have to distribute your software far and wide to every trade school, trade union, high school, college that there is. You've created Collaboration Call of Duty, a video game for construction. It is the way to reach this generation that does not want hard hats, safety vests, safety glasses. This can be their gateway into the construction industry. Get it to them and let them learn it. My fellow construction enthusiasts or con-tech enthusiasts, this is where I'm going to get a little angry, so I'm sorry. There was a time not too long ago, and maybe even now, you were very hard on the field people that would not buy into increased technology, better technology. You knew it was better, and they wouldn't buy into it, and you went as far as to say they should be fired, and I'm with you. If you don't want to change, you should be shown the door. However, the shoe may be on the other foot now. You see, there is a by far superior construction collaboration software that I refer to as Collaboration Call of Duty, or Revisto, that is far superior than another software that hasn't had any changes in the last 2 decades, but yet still is the industry standard. Now, why would that be? Would that be some of my fellow tech enthusiasts not being accepting to change? Maybe we should start looking at our attitudes, looking in the mirror and saying, putting the same emphasis on our inability to change as we did on the people in the field that didn't change. So now, brings me to our designers, our decision makers and principals. We all know that you value your field personnel tremendously. However, you have a tendency to underestimate their potential. I, for one, there was a time that I would be brought to meetings and presentations, and asked to sit in the back of the room, be quiet, don't open my mouth unless somebody asks me a question. And if somebody asks me a question, give a minimal answer. Don't say too much. Now, I'll let you be the judge if my potential was underestimated, but I'm over here now, right? So you have to stop looking at your field personnel as mere laborers and understand that they can do far more than just put things together. Our project managers, when are you going to stop pushing all your tech responsibilities onto your assistants? When are you going to embrace the construction, the virtual landscape? Because when you do embrace the virtual landscape, you will see the value of it. You will see that you need to put the same emphasis on the virtual phase of the construction as you do on the physical phase of the construction. Right now, that's not happening. To our GCs out there, we need to reassess our hiring practices. You see, right now, there's such an emphasis on where you went to college. So I ask, where are all the job openings, the job postings for BIM, VDC, construction tech people with decades of trade experience and minimal tech experience? Because I could comb the internet for days, and all I see is minimum of 4 years of college, masters in engineering. Unfortunately, I wouldn't qualify for any one of your positions, but I bet I'd help you. So, we need to change that. Now, our designers, your collaboration does not stop at the design, okay? You need to be a part of this. You need to join us on this journey, okay? You need to be there with us, and again, join the Revisto team and get off the Resisto team. So, before I close this up, don't blame me, it's her. Before I close this up, it's by now I think it's obvious that I think Revisto has changed my perspective on the future of construction. 5 years ago, I thought we had no chance. It was never going to get any better, and I was buying my time to get out. And now, with Revisto, the future is looking better. So I want you all to do me a favor. Stand up. Everyone. Everyone. Come on. This is important. Stand up. I want everyone to give Revisto the loudest, biggest standing ovation this industry has ever heard. Let's go! Bring it up! Bring it up! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, to the media team, if you could get me as many pictures of that as possible, no one would ever know. I've only had one standing ovation in my entire career, and I could really use an Instagram post. I promise I won't put it on LinkedIn. That'd be unethical. But in closing, you've all made it through this much of this keynote speech without having to get any offers you can't refuse from Bobby Bacala, Vinny DeChin, or Tommy 2 times. Guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for always having my back. Go get the car. I might have to make a quick exit. But seriously, as I mentioned before, you're all Revisto users. You're all techies. And although this presentation or keynote might not have been tailor-made for you, I hope what you do is take some of this back to your office, stand up for a better construction through the use of Revisto. Revisto is the cornerstone of the future of construction collaboration. Scream it from the mountaintops. Thank you.